Welcome to Top Tier Wrestling, your ultimate destination for all things WWE. Whether you're a hardcore wrestling fanatic or just a casual viewer, we've got you covered with the latest news, in-depth show reviews, and our unfiltered opinions on everything happening in the world of professional wrestling. Get ready to step into the ring with us and stay on top of the wrestling world. This is Top Tier Wrestling. Welcome to Top Tier Wrestling. I'm your host, Jackknife Powerbomb Josh, and joining me, as always, is my scintillating co-host, Doomsday Device Dawn. And tonight we're breaking down Friday Night SmackDown from August 22nd. Let's get into it.
Wait, what was your name? Jackknife Power?
Jackknife Powerbomb Josh and your Doomsday Device Dawn.
Doomsday Device. Oh man! All right, that was good. I'll take it.
The other option was Dudley Death Drop Dawn, which is the 3D fully pronounced, like you know where every one of the D words was. Although with you, it would be 4D. And this episode of Friday Night SmackDown is taking place in the 3 Arena in Dublin, Ireland. And so, since it's in Dublin, Ireland, the man has to come around, and Becky Lynch comes to the ring. And when she first makes her way to the ring,
I love how WWE it throws a wrestler out there that's from the same location, like a circus bear.
Well, it works. It almost works too well because you remember, like for the first. I mean, her promo was like a week long, but for the first 3 days of that week, the crowd was cheering her because she's a hometown gal, and she had to start dissing Ireland pretty hard to get them to turn on her.
No, it wasn't too hard. The very first thing she said, and they were like, "Boo, we want Lyra." I'm like, "Damn."
Yeah, well, then she decided to take it and run with it because she spent a fair piece of her promo dogging out Ireland once, because they were cheering her, and she's like, "I'm the heel, guys." So she's given her run of the mill speech, like how she's the best woman ever, and she ain't the only one saying that in the New York Times and Sports Illustrated, et cetera, et cetera.
I mean, it's important. Other people are saying that. It's just not her, is all.
Yeah, well, I mean, other people could stop saying it, and she would say it plenty enough for all of them. And then somewhere in that, Tiffany Stratton comes out, and we were like, "Oh,
yeah." No, I remember thinking, or I remember feeling very concerned for her because honestly, like she wouldn't last a second on the mic against Becky, right? So I remember it was like flashback, like PTSD, bruh. Like I immediately thought about the first time her and Charlotte had their little face to face, and Charlotte ate her alive. But thankfully, and sort of not thankfully, you could tell they had planned for that because the second Tiffany got up, everything she said sounded scripted as fuck. Like she was reading from a note card behind her eyes. Like, and I was like, "Oh, well, I mean, I guess that's that's a better option to deal with it."
Yeah, I guess. And they didn't let her talk for long, which I think was the plan. Like compared to Becky, who had given the Gettysburg Address, Tiffany came out and got to say like 2 things before Nia Jax interrupts her. Now, Nia and Tiffy basically comes out and tells Becky, "Oh, you know, you don't belong on this show. You seem ungrateful to be here in Dublin. I'll be happy to make you leave." Actually, I think I said it better than Tiffany, but that bar is real low. And then Nia Jax comes out and says, "Why are you concerning yourself with Becky? She does have a point about Dublin. It sucks, but she doesn't even go here, and you got way bigger problems than that, and they're standing right in front of you." And I think you had made a point that like who are the they in there standing right in front of you when she just like dismissed Becky Lynch?
Yeah, and then I figured, I don't know, maybe she identifies as they them or something. You know, like I.
Oh yeah. She's
I ain't
not like
trying
other
to.
girls. She's a plurality.
Yes. Yeah.
Rhea Ripley, this is my brutality. Nia Jax, I am a plurality. There you go. It's all there.
Nice bars.
Bars. Uh, and then Jax sucker punches Becky. Oh no, sorry. She sucker punches Tiffany Stratton, and her and Becky start ganging up on Tiffany Stratton. And Jade Cargill comes storming to the ring. They apparently wanted Jade to say even less. And it ends up being a big brawl that ultimately results in and who could have possibly seen this coming? Nick Aldis coming out and making a tag match between Nia Jax and Becky Lynch versus Jade Cargill and Tiffany Stratton for the main event of SmackDown.
Yeah. I even
Um,
think one of the commentators said who could see that coming or who saw that coming, and we were both like,
y-
everybody.
we know which
Everybody who
commentator said that. It was Joe the Mistake Tessitore.
whatever his name is, that dude. But we were both like, yeah, everybody who's watched wrestling for like more than a week knew that it was gonna result in a tag team match. So
Yep. Either that or a fatal four way. It was
right.
going to be one of those two, but
Right. Fatal
um,
four way, but they wouldn't even do a fatal four way on SmackDown. That'd be like for
mm,
PLE. So like it was totally gonna be a fucking
yeah.
tag team match.
Yep, and I'll get into the tag match later in the review, but like I really think they need to quit trying to they are trying super hard to put Tiffany Stratton over as a face, and it's just not working. It's super not working.
Yeah.
Um, but moving on from that, we are taken to Carmelo Hayes, who runs into Fraxium in the backstage area, and essentially Fraxium tries to, play the old put a wedge between Mello and Miz kind of a thing. And Nathan was like, yeah, the Miz was trying to steal your thunder. And if he was in Mello's position, he'd realize that Miz is a schemer. And to that, Carmelo ends up putting over the Miz's resume, like his accolades and how great he is and all this, that, and the other. And Carmelo talks about watching Miz on TV when he was a little kid and how Miz knows all the tricks and is smarter than everyone, and that's why they're in the position that they're in now. And that leads us into the first match of the night, which is the Motor City Machine Guns versus Carmelo Hayes and The Miz, now
Yeah.
known as Mello Don't Miz.
So this promo that happened before the match, Carmelo, he stood on business, sure, but I I was slightly confused by the move, and even Miz looked confused by it. So, because I mean, the last time we saw them, Miz had literally stolen the spotlight to get the tag on the last match they had, or to get the pin on the last
Yep.
match they had. Um, and Carmelo, while reluctant to applaud Miz or celebrate the win, did so, sure, but I mean, I didn't expect. Basically, I guess what I'm saying is I didn't expect for him to go off with this promo singing the Miz's praises, like especially considering uh what happens in the first match of the night, which is what we're about to talk about. Um,
Yep. And did you want to start, or should I share my thoughts first?
sure, I'll start.
All
Uh,
right.
this was a great opener. Motor City um continues to be a very impressive tag team. And while I was not really up on them when they first showed up, and I think I was more not up on them because of how they showed up and what they basically they just came in and took the championship belts, and I'm like, but what about the Street Profits? Like I felt very, I don't know, I wasn't feeling that. But once all that dies down, I just started watching them for you know them, and I think they're pretty damn impressive. If they take a bump, if they're doing a move on an opponent, uh their tag team work or their in-ring work together is good. They have really some, like, they're both of them have really good move sets. Just, I like them. So uh it was good to see them on the opener, and they did not disappoint. Carmelo Hayes is another wrestler that I think is really, really, really good. Um, and I think he's gotten better over time. Some of the matches that they've put him uh, in WWE have been really good. And at first, I was a little annoyed that they gave him Andrade for like 2 years of his career. But I think it kind of paid off because he really does. He some of the best matches I've seen Carmelo in were with Andrade. I talked a lot of shit back then when it was happening because I was like, "Oh, can we have anything else?" Because I mean, they were shoving like 7 matches down our throats,
I
man. It was
mean,
just,
yeah, it
it
was
was it
7 of
was
them
a
back to
lot,
back to
Robin.
back. Yeah.
Yes, it was a lot. And it had this been like the heat, like let's say this is um Kyle Fletcher versus Will Ospreay. Okay, that's gonna be some heat, and that's gonna be freaking crazy every time they get in the ring. So yeah, you'd watch 7 matches of that back to back. Yeah, I don't think they could do 7 matches back to back because they go hard on the paint in each match. But if they could, I'd watch that because yeah, it's a different thing though. Like, there's a feud there. There's like emotions and other things behind the matches. Carmelo and Andrade didn't have that. So we were just watching two dudes, basically practice with each other, spar with each other. I mean, that's how it felt.
Hmm.
But, aside from that, I look at them now, and once they got the heat going, some of their matches were really, really good. I think they were some of the last two in the ring. What was it? It was the Andre the Giant.
Memorial Battle Royal.
Yeah, the Battle Royal, where those two put on a freaking banger at the end there, and Carmelo looked amazing. So he continues to look really, really good. And I did originally applaud the move to attach him to The Miz, because while The Miz is seen as somewhat of a joke now, that dude can go in the ring. He's done some amazing things, and I think they get downplayed because when he was younger, people generally didn't like his attitude, his personality. He was the Logan Paul of his time. Um, and he just had that kind of, like, I don't know, it rubbed people the wrong way. You know what I mean? Um, he just had that kind of that face. I don't know, face, personality, whatever it is. People didn't like him. Um, and I think he's grown into. I mean, regardless, he was a good wrestler then. He's an amazing wrestler now. So I thought it was really smart to attach Carmelo Hayes to him or with him. Um, and with all that being said, this match was a fantastic opener. It gave me hope for the rest of SmackDown because SmackDown has made me very nervous as of late. It's kind of hard
Hmm.
to cut a promo. I mean, because we love this. We love wrestling. Like if we in another time, in another life, if we weren't wrestlers ourselves, we'd probably be traveling to as many live events as possible. Like, what, just, we love this shit. We love it. But if all we can do is bitch about something, if all we have is negative stuff to say, it kind of brings us down, man. And like, who wants to spend an hour and a half bitching
Yeah.
about something, you know? So it's had us nervous, but this gave me hope. This opener was pretty damn good. Yeah, so that's how I felt about it. I thought it was a pretty good opener. And if I were to base the whole show on this, then yeah, I would be like, "Oh man, it's only gonna get better from here, baby." You know,
Yeah.
it was a good hype. It was a good hype match.
Yeah. My thoughts in watching this match, they're clearly establishing that Mello and Miz are capable. I mean, they've just picked up a win last week, and they pick up another one here. Even if their relationship is being given the appearance of rockiness, like there's certain elements of this that I feel are like what they were going for with Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair.
Yeah,
Like they wanted to tease tension, but it didn't. I don't think with Charlotte and Alexa it really manifested like super a lot.
yeah,
Whereas here they are making it look like Miz and Mello's egos are almost incapable of getting along, despite the fact that they work well together. And I'm not sure if that's a telegraph for them eventually having a feud against one another, or if it is being used like a ploy to make their opponents in each match drop their guard. Because
yeah,
that's how it's manifested, is that it looks like Miz and Mello are not on the same page, but that ultimately ends up working in their favor. In this particular instance, throughout the match, um, Miz and Mello are like blind tagging one another, tagging themselves in when the other guy wasn't ready for them to be tagged in. And it's like, okay, all right. So it looks like it's an ego issue. And as we head near the end of the match, Hayes hits another blind tag. And right when Hayes is preparing for nothing but net, Miz tags himself in, and Hayes starts arguing with Miz, and that allows Chris Sabin to shove Hayes into the Miz, and that knocks Miz off of the apron onto the floor. And right after that, Sabin tries to go for a suplex, which Hayes counters out of, and then connects with neither announcer, and I was surprised Wade didn't do it. I was not surprised that Tess didn't do it, but neither one of them called it the first 48. I think Tess was like, "Oh, the knees," and I'm like, "Yeah, nailed it." Um, and I don't even think Wade called it properly, the first 48.
knees.
Yeah, and it's a signature move of Carmelo Hayes, and the fact that neither of your SmackDown announcers appear to recognize this is a bad look. But outside of that, like that sets up what is it, Alex Shelley to come in and clothesline Hayes over the top rope, and then Shelley like does an out of the ring move on him, but they all seem to have forgotten that Miz was the legal man. So Miz gets up off the floor now that like Shelley has taken both him and Carmelo out of the picture, to run in there and pin Chris Sabin, who is still demolished from the first 48, and that gets them the victory. So they're showing like this idea that there's this tension between the two of them, but they're also making it look like it's a ploy that they're using to get tag teams like Motor City Machine Guns, and potentially, if that promo before this match is any indication, soon Fraxium, to drop their guard and to not take them seriously, which allows them to sneak the win. They're outsmarting their opponents is more the message that I'm seeing than there's being depicted actual tension between Miz and Mello.
Yeah. Well, we shall definitely see. I'm interested in
Mhm.
what they're going for here. So that's something. Because I wasn't really interested or invested in any of the storylines that are popping off on SmackDown, to be honest. So they've gotten me, got an eyebrow raised. Like, what's happening over here?
Yeah, I fully agree. Although I'm kind of on the downside. Did Motor City Machine Guns do something to piss the back office off? Because like they took a
Um,
loss here, and the week before they got fed to Talatonga, who just pretty much by himself destroyed them. So I'm I'm
yeah,
I'm
I
I'm
don't know,
wondering
but
about them, and we've got once again. I guess you could make less of an argument than you could with Andrade and Phoenix about it being a throw together team that's just kicking the crap out of the established teams. But there could be a case made here again for
oh,
that.
there's definitely a case here for that. I was thinking the same thing right before you said it. But to answer the, Motor City Gun Machine uh downfall, I don't know, but we know how it works back there sometimes. Of course, I mean, we're not back there, but we get the news, we get the information, and we know that it's not impossible that somebody back there maybe thought that they got too big of a push when they first came here, and they haven't paid any of their dues as far as WWE is concerned. So
Mm.
maybe this is them doing that. Um,
Showing that they're not too big in the britches to be unwilling to take an L.
yeah, I
I could
mean,
dig that.
because I mean, there were a lot of people backstage who didn't even know that they were coming. So then they show up, and then immediately, here you go, some belts. When you got tag teams back there that have been working their asses off, man, and I mean, just think about how soon after Street Profits basically got belt, like they were basically handed belts. Shortly after that, so maybe they're just paying their dues.
You might be right. They might be showing that Motor City is not beyond being beaten. And I suppose on the upside of that equation, as long as it doesn't just land, because like 2 weeks in a row, it's been Motor City taking the L. So
Yeah.
like I'm waiting to see if this is a pattern. Like if you're just trying to keep it fresh, where like no one in the tag division or the in on any given night, anyone in the tag division could win. That I'm okay with. It's just that 2 for 2, you've sold out Motor City Machine Guns with the L's, and one of them was to Talatonga pretty much alone.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, they gotta do something with Talatonga. I mean, I get that. They got to do something with him to make him seem impressive. Uh, but I do hear what you're
yeah,
saying. I do hear what you're saying. And that's a topic for another time, probably later on in this podcast.
right. Well, moving on from the first match of the night where Carmelo Hayes and The Miz, or the Mellow Don't Miz, win via pinfall, we're taken backstage to Kathy Kelly, who has an interview with Jimmy Uso. And she, of course, wishes him a happy birthday, which I wasn't aware that it was his birthday. So he's going to be a new daddy and has a birthday at the same time. Nice. And she asks if Jimmy's been able to process the news of Naomi's pregnancy, and he says, "Not really. But they've been getting a lot of love from everybody, and it's insane." And that's when Sami Zayn like flies in from off scene and like power hugs Jimmy. And he goes on to say that he's super happy for Jimmy, and he was crying his eyes out on Monday. I believe that, Sammy.
Yeah, I do too.
And he goes on to say that he knows the baby will have the entire bloodline, and he's got plenty of uncles, but he's got his uncle Sammy there as well. And that's when Solo Sikoa shows up to interrupt the interview and basically tells Kathy to hit the bricks. Poor Kathy. They either don't talk to her or they talk to her for a second and they're like, "Leave now." Um, But Solo goes on to tell Jimmy that he understands that Jimmy isn't coming back to the family. However, when the new baby arrives, there'll be plenty of uncles, but the best uncle will be his uncle Solo. And he says, you know, he's gonna do Jimmy a favor in that Jimmy can name the baby after his favorite uncle, Uncle Solo. And Jimmy's response is basically the no yeet gesture, which then Sammy goes on to explain that means no yeet. Thank you, Sammy.
Good job,
And
Sammy. Thank you.
he tells Solo that he should be less concerned about naming other people's babies and more concerned about hanging on to that U.S. championship. And Solo's like, so what is this, Sammy? Another underdog story? And he says to Solo, no, you're dealing with WrestleMania main eventer Sami Zayn, not underdog Sami Zayn.
Oh, shit.
And Solo then tells Sammy he'll see him later. And that segment brings us to our second match of the night, which is Charlotte Flair with a completely absent Alexa Bliss. I think, didn't we hear that she had hurt herself or something?
I
This is
think
why she
so.
wasn't there.
Well, yeah. So this match that Charlotte is having is to basically get back at them for hurting Alexa. So
Alexa, got it.
right. So according to the kayfabe here, Alexa wasn't there because she's out with an injury or she's injured, and Charlotte was making them pay for it.
Gotcha. So it's Charlotte Flair all by herself versus Piper Niven and the Secret Hervis. And what were your thoughts on this match?
So good. It was really good. I was happy to see Piper Niven in the capacity that she was in, going against Charlotte Flair. I mean, this is a huge deal. This is huge. And they finally showed the Secret Hervis the way that I think these women should be seen as threats, as serious competitors, because they are. There's not one woman in this group that cannot whoop some ass. We've seen it and we know it. And all of them have held gold before. So, like, these ain't no chumps. And Piper Niven is a shining example of how much they are not chumps. So she got in that ring and put on a banger. Her and Charlotte, this is like the match that I've wanted to see from these two for quite some time. Yes, they've been in the ring together before, but not like this. This was good. It didn't feel rushed. These women had I feel like they had a good ample amount of time to really get things going, and so it wasn't like one of those matches where it starts to get good and then it's done. It wasn't one of those. Niven looked strong. Like, Niven looked like a competitor. Like, no joke.
Like the powerhouse that she should look like.
Like the powerhouse that she should. Yes, exactly. And the Secret Hervis in general looked like a formidable group. They worked very well together, and they did everything they could to make sure that in the end, the winner of the match, I'm just going to go ahead and say it, would be Piper Niven, which was fucking brilliant. That's a huge win for Piper.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and she looked dominant. It wasn't like yes. Chelsea and Alba both helped. Excuse me. They both helped. They distracted the ref. They tried to get in little sneak punches or kicks or slaps or whatever they could to Charlotte whenever they had the opportunity to do so. Yes. So basically, they behaved like any other like any other competent faction would in this case, where the numbers game is what like basically you could be as great as you want, but eventually numbers say advantage, and that's exactly what happened here. They used the numbers to their advantage, and ultimately Piper picks up the victory. in probably one of her most dominant matches, or one of her biggest matches to date, or as of late, with
Yeah.
Charlotte freaking Flair. So really good. And again,
Nice.
this match happens, and I'm like, oh my god, are we gonna have a good SmackDown? Is SmackDown gonna be good, or is it gonna be like 50-50, where like the first two matches bangers, and then the last two are like, oh
Yeah.
yeah,
But to offer my thoughts on this match, they echo yours almost entirely. This was a great match that put over Piper. Even with a bit of help near the end, specifically Charlotte had put the figure eight on Piper, and the referee gets distracted by Alba Fire, which allows Chelsea to reach in under the ring and rake Charlotte's eyes. But I mean, Charlotte Flair is a major competitor. Like, she sits at the top of the card, regardless of whether we like it or not, or any of the crowd likes it. She is Charlotte fucking Flair.
yeah,
And so, even with a bit of an eye rake, the fact that Niven was able to um still win, because Charlotte has kicked out of that kind of minor interference a billion times before.
yeah,
So this match, even with a touch of help from the Secret Hervis, is a huge win for Piper Niven, who in decisive fashion drills Charlotte with a Piper driver to pick up the victory. And it's a straight 1-2-3 at that point. So this is a big win for Piper, as you said.
yeah,
And I agree. I'm really glad that, you can have the Secret Hervis have their comedic chops. That's cool. But there's also no reason you can't have both those comedic chops and the fact that they are competent and kind of
yeah,
nasty competitors in the ring. Like,
yes.
both those things can be true.
This is something they know already, though. We know they know this. Look at New Day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hilarious. But yeah, get in the ring and play with them if you want.
Yeah, there's a reason they're one of the winningest tag teams in all of WWE. So, yeah, I'm good for both, right? Because then we get the comedy in the skits and some stuff in the ring, but you also know that they're still going to be able to put on a good match. Like, I like watching Piper Niven like annihilate people with the Boss Woman Slam or the Black Hole Slam, or whatever you would like to call it.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal the way she does it. It's great. And her Piper driver, when she delivers it with some authority, because it's really like a huge Michinoku driver, looks real nice.
Yeah.
Um, so all of these ladies, like you said, can go. We know they can. So let them. It's not going to take away from the comedic side of things, and they don't need to job all the time,
No.
and
Yeah.
and so this is good. I really approve of everything that happened to my eyeball face in this particular match. It was great.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm in agreement.
Yep. So just to recap that last bit, it's a huge win for Piper Niven. And then after that match, we are taken backstage where we see Julia having a business discussion with Kiana James, and Julia actually appeared. She didn't wrestle or anything, but it's like they were listening to the fact that Julia won the title and disappeared. She's had one
Yeah.
defense, which was her rematch, I believe, against Zelina Vega. So it was good to see that Julia was even there. I don't know if she's nursing an injury or if they're just not sure what to do with her or what, but I'm glad she was there.
Yeah.
And Michin shows up to join the conversation, and she tells Julia that, she's got an appointment with her to fight for that title. And Kiana said she thought she made it clear to Michin that any inquiries business related runs through her. And Meacham pretty much says she's going directly to the champ, and Kiana reiterates that if Meacham wants to face Julia, she has to go through her first. And also briefly, they're having this conversation in a stairwell, and in the background there's some stairs going down, and you see Nikki Cross lurking in the background. So it makes me think that obviously that's on purpose. So Nikki is clearly watching what's transpiring with Julia and her U.S. championship. So it makes me think Nikki Cross might make a play for it too.
Yeah.
And Michin goes on to say she has no problems going through Kiana and having 2 matches instead of just 1 match. That's fantastic for her. And she goes on to threaten Julia, saying, she's going to force her to defend the U.S. championship. And Julia says she's not worried about Michin.
She legit went, I'm not worried. And I'm like, damn, yeah, I wouldn't be either, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's almost like Michin got twice buried by some things that were said here. One, that Julia basically says, I'm not worried about you, Michin, is reinforcing the fact that Michin hasn't really made anybody feel like she's a threat.
That's legit all she said to her, too.
Yeah, and the fact that
cold.
Michin is super happy about getting 2 matches, like, oh, I get to have 2 matches instead of just 1. Like she's fighting for her TV time. So it's like they know that Michin is not an act that people are clamoring to see, and it's like, oh, that's sad.
That's cold-blooded.
Cold-blooded. But again, happy to see Julia back on the scene. I don't know how to feel about Kiana James as a threat. She came to the SmackDown roster, had maybe 1.5 matches before she's been injured for a year or so, and now she's back.
I thought for sure she was gonna be fired, bro. I mean, no disrespect, but I was very surprised to even see her.
Yeah.
And then to give her, I didn't even know what to think about that. I still don't know what to think about it.
Yeah. I'm hoping that she can kind of re-debut because she pretty much showed up and disappeared, and it's like, oh, you were going the route of CM Punk.
Yeah. Excuse me.
But after that particular segment, we enter into the huge mid-show promo in which John Cena comes out, and now everyone's cheering because he's back to being not the lamest shit heel John Cena. He's back to his old self. But before he can say anything, Logan Paul's music cues up. And that only happens because he's so humble, guys.
Yeah. That song is a banger.
Yeah.
Oh man, I try not to like it, but
it is a banger. It's a really good entrance song. It's very good. I am a fan of Logan Paul in WWE and what he does in his promos and in the ring. If that was all I knew of Logan Paul, that would be phenomenal.
Yeah.
But he comes out and he starts dissing John Cena. He complains about, people calling him an outsider. He's been doing this for 4 years. He's been doing this longer than some people, like half the people on the roster. He talks about how, he makes each match something amazing and shows everybody something new, not doing the same 5 moves for 23 years. And he tells John Cena he can't wait to get in the ring with him in Paris. And this was kind of a weird thing to say. He says, I'm not signing a cohabitation agreement, buddy. This is my house now. And I was like, okay. Like, I see where you were going, but signing a cohabitation agreement was a weird way to get there. Like, I would have just said, but we're not going to be roomies. This is my house now, John. You know what I mean? That didn't roll off the tongue and wasn't like, if brevity is the spirit of wit, that wasn't it, my dude. But then John goes on to say, Logan Paul has an undeniable presence as a tremendous athlete and is a future WWE World Champion. He's also a future WrestleMania main event. These are all things I believe to be true, and it pisses me off. And he goes on to say that it's not true anymore that Logan Paul's an outsider, that we have to course correct because we're stuck with him. He ain't going anywhere. But he's a disappointment, not an outsider. And he, He goes on to say that instead of respecting this house, you use it for a branding opportunity. And when he said this, he jumped out of the ring and slapped all of the prime cart and all of the bottles onto the floor. And long story short, he basically goes on to say that Logan Paul's not an outsider. He's a parasite. Instead of asking, what more can I give to this business? You step in here and you just want to suck everything you can out of it. And he finishes, or, after some more elaboration, he goes on to say, at Clash in Paris, you'll either understand what it means to give yourself to this business that I love, or I'm going to beat the ever-loving shit out of you. And it's at that point that Logan, slaps the mic out of Cena's hands, knocks his hat off, pushes him, and then he attempts to give Cena the titanium punch, and Cena ducks under and then delivers an attitude adjustment to close the segment and leave Logan Paul lying in the ring. After that, we are taken to Tiffany Stratton, who is having a conversation backstage with Jade Cargill, and she's telling her, "Hey, I didn't need your help out there. She could have beaten Becky on her own, and she's beaten Nia Jax countless times." And Jade goes on to say, "Tiffany, I need you at 100% because when I beat you, I don't want there to be any excuses. They can work together tonight in their tag match, but after the night's over, Jade's coming for her WWE Women's Championship. Bet that."
Yes. Before you go any further, I just want to give to how I felt about the promo that John Cena and Logan Paul cut.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I feel like I don't know how the match is gonna look. Okay. Honestly, and I know they've been in the ring before, but that was with other people. I'm not sure how it's gonna. You know what? I'm ready. I'm ready to see how it's gonna look against each other. But I kind of feel like Logan Paul is one of those high flyers, like he's all over the place. And John Cena is much more old school. So I don't know if that means that Logan is going to meet John Cena where he lives, or if John Cena is gonna do the meeting, or if they're just gonna meet in the middle. But in any case, I feel like Logan is seasoned enough, even though he's new. I think he's seasoned enough to play well with others because I've seen him do just that. Like him and Jelly Roll, really good. He made Jelly Roll look amazing. So I have no doubts that he'll do the same here against John Cena. But the promo, John Cena, we already know he's gonna get in the mic and be golden. Even when he's trying to sell us shit, he will spin gold all around that turd. And we'll be like, oh, it's gross but nice, thanks. We know that, but I think Logan, his reactions were really good. His knocking the mic out of his hand like an impetulant child, slapping the cap off of his head. Now we know why John Cena didn't throw it out in the audience. I think all of that was really good. So hopefully they work well with each other, like against each other in the ring. That I'm excited about that. But this was a really good promo. This was really good. And John Cena is just he's amazing to watch on the mic.
Yeah. I have some concerns about how good of a match they might do because of the events of tonight.
Mm-hmm.
But part of what I want to reference happens later, so
Yeah.
I will get back to it then.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm hoping, like you are, that they can put on a good match, because John and Cody just put on a hell of a match when Cody won back the title. So I don't think the crowd is going to stick with John if John goes back to kind of phoning it in. Like we really, you're in your final run. Give it all you got, bud.
Yeah. Yeah, here's hoping. I think he will. I think he will. It can't be any of that boring ass like shit that you were doing when you were a heel. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody.
No, not none, buddy. But all that said, we are now brought to the third match of the night, which is the Street Profits with BFAB versus the MFTs. And in this particular configuration, specifically, it's the Street Profits versus JC Mateo and Bambi Loa. I mean, Tonga Loa. And did you want to give your thoughts on this match, or do you want me to go first and then you? What you feeling?
Go for it. Go for it.
All right. My thoughts on this match. Two things really. First, can we get BFAB back in the ring? She was just starting to shine, and now she seems like she's relegated back to valet status. So
Yeah.
I miss getting to see her because she was really starting to shine up. Like she was making faster and better progress than even Maxine Dupree.
Yeah, like is she injured?
I don't know if it's that. I think it all ties into a broader criticism that I'm going to make about SmackDown. They have really been struggling with the loss of that third hour and being able to squeeze in everything they need to squeeze in. So it might just be that BFAB is trying to get in where they've got the time to fit her in. But I do miss seeing her in the ring is all I'm saying. She was getting real good. And was showing off as a good competitor. So I would like to see that continue. Second, and this is kind of a criticism, but this match was almost the opposite of what we spoke about on our previous podcast for SmackDown last week, which is the need for the MFTs to look more dominant. JC Mateo and Bambi Loa, I feel, looked weak, and even with help from Tala and Solo on the outside, they super lost. Like, I figured they would lose against the Street Profits because it's the Profits, right? But I thought maybe they could look like they had a shot in hell, or even that they were dominant, and I just didn't see that. I don't know if you'll agree or disagree, but I felt like they both looked like jobbers, and this is with them. BFAB is there, sure, but BFAB just she didn't interfere at all. But you have Solo and Tala still both out there. And they just got their asses beat by the Profits. And this is problematic for the reasons we spoke about last week. Like, I don't foresee the MFT faction establishing enough threat to be a major problem, not just for the SmackDown roster as it exists now, but certainly not if WWE is working towards any sort of OG Bloodline versus MFTs feud. Like
nah, I don't see that happening.
There's not enough strength on the MFT side to be able to withstand that in any kind of way that's compelling. It's just going to be a shit show where the OG Bloodline runs them through.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my take.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just wrapping it up. That was kind of my takeaway from this match. Otherwise, like, Dawkins and Ford looked amazing, as they always do.
As they always do, yeah.
But it's not Dawkins and Ford that I feel need to showcase something going on right now. It's the MFTs. JC Mateo is still not that impressive. Tonga Loa has never been. And Tala Tonga, even at his big 7-foot ass, is still only like a 2-trick pony. He throws one of the weaker looking choke slams of a big man who throws a choke slam in the industry, and a big boot. That is like the sum and total of Tala Tonga. That in his name is a pun. This isn't enough. So that's kind of my takeaway. It was a good match. It just didn't do what I had hoped it needed to do for the MFTs, and instead, it makes the Profits look dominant, but we already knew that. We know the Profits are dominant. They're not the unproven commodity here. So that was my takeaway from this particular match. I turn it over to you.
Um. Yeah. So looking at this match, just outside of who was in it, if I were to say like these two teams got into the ring, the Street Profits looked great. It was a good match. It was a good match overall. But knowing that one of these teams is a faction that's supposed to be dominant, one that came from the bloodline. I mean, this started out originally. This was the Roman freaking Reigns, the Usos, Solo Sikoa, Sami Zayn, um, Jacob Fatu. Like these are big, powerful wrestlers, and now I look at what the Bloodline Part Two, the new Bloodline, what it's become as the MFTs, and I just do not see a way for these guys to pose any threat to Jimmy, Jay, Sammy, Roman. I I don't see it.
No,
Um
no, not at all.
I don't see it. And while I am so happy that I got to see Solo Sikoa's personality, um I feel like after they did that, after they changed who Solo was supposed to be, like he could no longer be the guy. Now we have to give that to Jacob, who literally came in and did the exact same fucking thing that Solo Sikoa used to do. Um, that was the beginning of the end. It has not been recoverable. Like there's I it hasn't been recovered, man. And so now I just don't know what they plan to do with the MFTs. They need to look dominant. They need to look dominant. The reins need to come off. They need to look dominant in matches that WWE just don't have. Like these matches, they won't do. So I don't know what they're gonna do with this. Um, And it's not that I don't have any issues with JC Mattel. I'm not saying that dude can't wrestle. And whenever the audience started doing that "you can't wrestle" chant, I thought to myself, fucking dude's like, wasn't he like in the Olympics or something? Isn't he like he can wrestle, guys? I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Maybe you don't want to see him wrestle, but he does indeed know how to wrestle. So the whole "you can't wrestle" chant was really stupid. Um, but that right there is a really good example of what I mean when I say that people just ain't on the same boat. They ain't on the same page with the MFTs. They aren't.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think that's worth noting because we can get lost in the woods about well, actually he can wrestle. You're not reading the room. They wouldn't be chanting that if they were impressed at all with JC Mateo. So you
Yeah,
can either
exactly.
get stuck on the specific way they made that displeasure known. Oh, he actually can. Well, actually, or you can listen to the fact that JC Mateo is not over and they're
Yeah.
not impressed with him. That's what they're telling you.
Yeah.
Hear
So
that.
so think about this. He is an Olympian. Yeah, he can wrestle. Absolutely can. That's what he went to he can absolutely do it. And yet the audience ain't up on him. They don't think he
No.
looks impressive. Why is that? We've been talking about this for I don't know how long, man. I'm not talking shit about JC Mateo. I'm not saying the dude can't go in the ring, but listen to what the people are saying.
Yeah. There's no universe that I think you could stick JC Mateo in with Jay Uso and make me believe Jay loses. Hell, I don't
Yeah.
even think he could beat Sami Zayn. And he might have a shot with Jimmy, but maybe not even there. He damn sure couldn't touch Roman. And he's
Oh,
got
no.
zero, less than negative. Like almost the entire MFTs have no chance or a very limited chance going with all of them versus Jacob. That's what I'm saying. The power balance is wrong for whatever this feud could potentially
Yeah.
be. Like,
And now taking Jacob out of that faction and putting him in with the original, the OG bloodline, basically. That's good, but I think you shot your shot too soon, man. Because there's nothing back there. You know how he showed up because Solo was moving somewhere else, so there was a replacement. There's nothing like that over there with the MFTs now. There,
no,
so now we just got a group of really sad looking Samoans.
yeah, Solo and Jacob is a dangerous set in that one side,
Yeah,
but the Guerrillas of War have never been impressive. JC Mateo has not made himself impressive, and Tonga is still yet to make himself super impressive. So
no,
that whole MFT side is like all of the leftovers that weren't good enough to be with the real bloodline. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And that lopsidedness makes it not that compelling, at least not as far as a match goes. So I'm not sure what the answer is because I don't know that Tongalo is going to get any better than what you got. Like that dude's been there for years now and he's still pretty weak.
yeah,
JC Mateo, still don't know. You know, you can tell me all day how much of a, fire plug powerhouse this dude is. He still doesn't, it still just doesn't make him more impressive to look at in the ring. You know, I don't know what you can do with that. It might help if your announcers, at the very least, could differentiate his moves. There was a point where he did a spinning backdrop suplex and all of them, like both Tess and Wade, conflated that with like Tour of the Islands, which is a spinning power slam. Different fucking moves. You guys have literally one job, and it pertains to calling the action, which means your whole job is to know the damn moves that the wrestlers do, and you're both terrible at it. The move that he did do, for the record, is called the spin cycle. Learn it, love it, live it. So they're not helping to unbury JC Mateo here.
yeah,
So there's not, I mean, what are you going to do? Have Solo side gain 3 more members to outnumber the OG bloodline? Because at this point, I don't see your other option. Tamatonga is out for however long, and he was only so okay. Of the
yeah,
2 Tongas, he was the one that like could actually wrestle. Tongaloa, whatever. I just don't have the charity left to think that that dude's going to get any better than he is, and he's not very good. And JC Mateo is just not impressive to the crowd. He looks like a fat homeless guy who's about to drop dead. I mean, he's not very tall. You can keep saying he's super powerhouse with all these credentials. The crowd ain't eating it up. And you haven't made him so dominant that I think he would stand a chance with like almost anyone that's on the opposite side.
yeah,
So really, it's just Solo. Solo is the only one that is a half decent and threatening wrestler, despite the fact that you make him use the stupid thumb of doom. Um, Even Talatonga looks like he just doesn't have it all. Like he's barely there. He's an incompetent big man.
yeah.
So yeah, wherever they're going with this, it's not in a good place, and they need to fix it if that's the direction they're going. If it's not, then it doesn't matter, and this is just a nothing burger faction.
Yeah. I just don't know what they're gonna do.
Yep.
I
But
don't see the light at the end of that tunnel.
no, not in its current configuration. I just don't believe that any of the Tongas, Tamatonga, Tonga Lower, or Talatonga, have the chops to do what you're trying to do with them, or they haven't shown it to me yet. And JC Mateo is not a bad wrestler. He's just not as impressive as you keep trying to sell us on.
Yeah.
And it's certainly not impressive enough to stand against the OG bloodline.
No,
So
not at
really,
all.
like, you defanged the shit out of what power was in Solo's side of the equation by moving Jacob to the other end. Like,
Yeah.
he really doesn't have anything now.
Nope. No. No, he does
So
not.
the Street Profits in a pinfall beat the crap out of the MFTs. Yeah. Which brings
Stuffing.
us to our fourth question mark match.
Question mark. Question mark.
And I say it that way because it's supposed to be Aleister Black versus R-Truth.
This was really weird. So like he comes out, he being Alistair, he comes out, and then we hear R-Truth talking on the Biggie screen.
The
And
Titantron, yeah.
yeah, and apparently he's not gonna be able to make it because he flew to Dublin, Georgia, and not Dublin, Ireland. And he didn't even know that there were two places with Dublin in it. So, he just started Dublin in it, and he ended up in Dublin, Georgia. Uh but he made a call to one of his good friends um that would do the match for him. So then Damien Priest's music cuts on and he comes out. Uh and him and Alistair go at it, but the bell is never rang for some reason. So then like they're just fighting, like swinging on each other, the usual stuff, But then people come out from the back and start breaking them up for some reason. Like honestly, I do not get what's happening. They start breaking them up, and both Josh and I were like, "But I thought they were about to have a match. Like, why won't the ref ring the bell?"
Yeah.
Like R-Truth was going to have a match with Alistair, but he's not there. So Damien is here. What's the whole? So that means that there's going to be a match. What's happening? But they break these two up. Several attempts at Damien and Alistair make several attempts to get at each other, but ultimately, this is a match result of no contest because there's really not a match. Um, it's not a match. No one really talks about it. The brawling continues all the way to the backstage, like to the backstage area. And that was that. They don't even talk about it later in the show. But that's it. That's
Mm-mm.
it.
Yeah,
That no
it
match.
it was weird. Both men get entrances, and we thought, okay, R-Truth can't make it, so we're gonna get Damian Priest. Damian runs into the ring. Both men are in the ring. I guess the ref wasn't fast enough ringing the bell that it just gets treated like it was a unplanned brawl. So this was just non-match filler. And
Yeah.
this I feel is another this and something that happens later are two elements that I feel are really where SmackDown is struggling with the loss of that third hour.
Yeah.
So instead of this match, it just gets snuffed as a brawl, and so that's that.
Yeah, I feel like it was here to take up some time for some reason. And so here's my theory, because right after we get this nothing match, we get a promo from Drew McIntyre. Right, and he comes out, and his promo, maybe a paragraph long. He came out to talk about something that he's already somewhat addressed about
Yeah.
Cody. He wants to know if they've gotten any medical update yet. For apparently there's no medical update yet, which is the strange thing I've ever fucking heard. The commentator started out talking about it, then Drew comes out. So this is again more like filler, more time wasty for some reason. I am honestly not sure why. Because you need every second of the time that you can use in matches to get this shit going. Like that's where your time should be spent
Mm-hmm.
most. But for some reason, this non-match between Aleister Black and Damian Priest, and this promo cut on the spot by Drew McIntyre are there in place of a match.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I'm not honestly not sure why, because the main event happens after all of this, and I'm not gonna go that far. I'm not gonna go that far into it because we still got to talk about this Drew McIntyre promo and what happens in it. But shortly after that, we get the alleged fifth match of the night, and that was just as quick. To be perfectly honest, this was the main event, and that match was super short. So
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. We'll get to that. Yeah.
yeah, so why waste all this time filling in for a match that never happened when you could have just given that time to your main event, cut a promo by Drew, given the main event a longer runtime, and then boom. But none of that
Yeah.
freaking happened.
No, none of that did. And as far as this Drew McIntyre promo, as far as I could tell, the whole point of it was, you know,
It was fan service.
he's bragging about what he did last week, and he says, "You know who's chastised me or told me off for doing it? No one. You got no friends. I told you it's lonely at the top." And this is all to set up Randy Orton sliding in behind him and hitting him with a huge RKO and playing Randy's music to close that segment. Like
That's
that
it.
was a fan service spot. Like that was
Yeah,
it. And okay, so I guess maybe Randy Orton match with Drew at Paris or something.
yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I like seeing an RKO, but when you're pressed for time, I feel like these last two segments just ate up time that end up, as you
Exactly.
just said, stealing from the quote unquote main event.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the alleged fifth match
Actually,
because, like, the fourth match.
actually even more shit happened after that, because remember that we see Becky in the back talking to herself and punching the air. Then Nia Jax comes over and tells her that, you know, like they're gonna work together and it's gonna be cool. And then Becky tells her, you know, you stay out of my way, we're gonna, you know, do this. And not Chelsea, but they need to learn who I am, and Dublin needs to respect me. Like, basically just goes off. This is maybe
Yeah.
a minute long segment where they just, you know, basically agree to work with each other. And then Nia's like, you know, got it, and then walks off. And then Becky continues to punch the air and talk to herself. Like, we got time for that. Then we got time to hear about what's happening next week on SmackDown, because they're gonna be in France, which I'm not gonna lie, but I'm kinda hyped for. Um but I mean, like, we get all the stuff about what's happening next week, and then the fifth match, the main event with
Yeah.
Becky
So
Lynch. Yeah,
we've had both of these competitors, Nia and Becky, who basically historically hate each other. Remember, it was Nia that punched Becky's face across, her nose across her face, I should say.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they hate each other. And then we've got Jade Cargill and Tiffany Stratton, who don't particularly like one another, especially since it's challenger and champion in a tag match together. And we weren't left ultimately with enough time to capitalize on any of that, because at no point in this match do either Becky Lynch and Nia Jax or Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill show any tensions between one another at all.
No,
Like,
no. This was just a regular, like, let's practice a match type match.
yep, and I'll turn it over to you if you want to unload your thoughts on this main event.
I kind of feel like I just did. Like, honestly, I'm not saying that it was a bad match. It wasn't. It was a brief match. That's what I'm saying. There was no time for any story development. And I think you were just basically speaking to that. There was really no time for anything except for, here are some semi impressive moves, and and then finally a pin. I mean, honestly, they're uh this good match, but very short. I think maybe like if I were to write it down, it would be about a paragraph long. Um,
Yeah. And to piggyback on that, in addition to the criticism I gave about like they cut two separate promos with these ill-formed tag teams that lead you to believe that at some point we're going to see some tensions between the tag teams, not against each other, but against the two tag team members.
right.
None of that plays out. And the meat of this match is largely Cargill beating the brakes off of Becky Lynch. And to that extent, Cargill looked good, but Cargill being able to throw around Becky Lynch, who is a wet noodle on her best day, it should be obvious. Like, it's certainly not as impressive as her trying to lift up Nia Jax for some shit, right?
Yeah.
And Cargill looked good. It was largely between those two for a good portion of it. I'm still unconvinced that Tiffany Stratton can have any kind of decent match without either Naomi or Nia Jax, who are the only two other women I've ever seen her have matches with where they were good.
Yeah.
And essentially, I feel like since it was rushed, it really just sort of felt like Stratton and Cargill basically squashed the what is it over there? I think she's the US champ, Becky Lynch.
Yeah. I think so.
And or no, she's the Intercontinental Women's Champ. And Nia Jax, like both of them are big time. Like she's big time Bex. She is currently the Intercontinental Women's Champion. And she and Nia basically just got the break speed off of them, like straightforwardly, because this match didn't have enough time to breathe to do anything else. It really felt rushed for time, and this is a good example of where that loss of the third hour is still kicking SmackDown in the balls.
Yeah.
There was a better match here than what we were able to get because it ran out of time. Like that is the long and the short of it, and unfortunately, it made Jax and Becky look like they were just jobbers.
Yeah. You ain't wrong. Don't know why. I don't know why they decided to go that route.
No, I don't either. Just to kind of give the details of how it closes, I believe I want to say Jade Cargill does like a splash onto Nia Jax to pick up the win. After Tiffany Stratton did the double jump moonsault, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, this was a huge like just like a run through.
Yeah.
Like honestly, this was a very very quick match. And then it was done. Like it was super high and by.
and then it kind of goes from that. Like there's nothing really after that. Besides Becky like hightailing it out of there. After that match, we immediately go backstage so that we can see a show closing promo where John Cena's walking through a hallway, or I think he actually steps out into the hall, and Nick Aldis is coming after him to tell him, "Hey, I just got off the phone with Brock Lesnar." But before Aldis is able to really say anything more than that, from off screen, Logan Paul runs down the hallway and just sucker punches with the titanium fist John Cena and lays him out flat. And then Logan Paul like stops and taunts and laughs a bit, and Nick Aldis is in tow, like trying to, bitch at him. And that's how they close the show. And this was troubling as well because I have since heard on the internets, we didn't see this, but there's two versions of this particular final promo. Because apparently in the version we watched, if you stopped it and paused it and frame by framed it, you see that John Cena kind of backed out of the punch. So if you do all that trigger, because it was fast as shit, honestly, if you just watched it, it looked fine. But if you
It
pause it
did.
and do all that stuff, then you can very clearly see that it didn't connect with John. And so they reshot it from a different angle to make it look better. So it started out strong and kind of finished sloppy is my takeaway from this SmackDown. And if you like, I can immediately, since that's how we close the show, I can go into what my review is and
Oh, go ahead.
overall thoughts. This was certainly a better episode of WWE SmackDown than the previous weeks. It was better than last week, but it's still struggling. I think for me, this is going to be either a 7 or a 7.5. It's not top tier. The Black and Priest non-match and the rushed main event are all dinging it. And my overall thought is that SmackDown is super struggling to try and do all of what it wants and needs to do since it lost that third hour, and it really shows, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So that's my thoughts and review.
I would have to give it about the same. I have to give it about the same number. It's definitely a 7.5. It's not top tier, but it's almost there. And that's I have to because the last match I felt was rushed and cut short in lieu or in replacement they put promos and a non-match, and I'm not really sure why. Maybe one of the girls has an injury and they were just trying to rush through it. I don't know. But if you had time to promo before the match, fake match before the match, and then promo after the match, perhaps your main event was a little too short. When you got just 2 hours to work with and you got all that time before and after your main event to cut promos, then maybe your main event was too short. Just maybe. They couldn't even build any type of heat, any type of nothing here. And then we get Becky going out there giving us a 15-minute long promo before anybody else comes out and says anything. Did you like? I feel like the time. You know what? That sums it up. I feel like the time wasted on promos and all that other nonsense. This episode was too much versus the matches versus the in-ring work. Yeah, it just felt kind of lopsided and ended up falling flat. It was just kind of wah at the end. That's all. I mean, a longer main freaking event, because I honestly feel like the match uh the Street Profits and oh my god
The MFTs.
thank you, the Street Profits. I feel like that match went on longer. Um, than the main event. Like, I felt like that was more the main event. They could have just switched it
Yeah.
around.
No,
But
I agree. I agree.
aside from all that, yeah, I just to sum it all up, I'd give it a 7.5. Again, not top tier. Jesus. But but oh, it's so close. So
Yeah, I think you made a good point. You made several, but one that really stands out is that having lost that last hour, maybe the promos need to be a little less long-winded. Like, I mean, this is pro wrestling. It's not rocket science. We don't need to get super deep with it. You can be like, "Hey, I'm tired of being called an outsider." Hey, you're not an outsider, you're a parasite. But they took the longest road. Like, these are some long-winded ass promos that aren't actually saying anything that complicated. So use your time a little bit better, because when
yeah,
you're having to steal from your main event in order for these like not that big a deal kind of promos and shit, I think it really does a disservice to it. But that's what I mean when I say I think they're really struggling with the loss of that third hour. I'm hoping they can get it back. That said, I want to thank everybody who has joined us for this episode, and that concludes our review of Friday Night SmackDown from, what was it, August 22nd?
yeah.
And I would invite you to join us for our next podcast, which should be our coverage of Monday Night Raw. Until then, I don't think there's anything left for me to do but roll the outro.
Bye, guys. Bye, guys.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Top Tier Wrestling. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the latest WWE news and shows. You can find us on all major podcast platforms as well as our YouTube channel where we upload all of our episodes. You can also follow us on Instagram and X for updates and to join the conversation. Until next time, everyone, remember, wrestling is always better when it's top tier.